I wanted to ask you for some, and obviously you don't have to go into any expose anyone's identity. There's lots of people who come to you for help and guidance, and the work that you're doing is amazing because I know also is exhausting as well. It kind of drains you emotionally, physically. It's tiring work, so it's amazing work that you do. Would you be able to give us some examples of the kind of things that you do?
Wallahi al-Azim, this week, sometimes I do think that, I keep asking Allah, remove me away from it. The way it's hard and the way it's difficult and the way, you see humanity going through a suffering and yet they in need of a lot of help. When we are exposed to these things, or these energies, these negative energies, these genes, or when we go ourselves to open up that world and have contract with, and we have no idea the consequences later on. Now, what happened is that couple of incidents that happened to me, I have learned so much, brother. You find a being looking like he is fine, or she is fine. And all of a sudden, when you engage reading on the person with, doing this healing, call it Ruqya,
Yeah.
and a lot of manifestation. Sometimes I do listen before. Sometimes it happened that, I will arrive and there's too many of them, for example, entire family, and already the manifestations are happening. Someone is not well, etc. So I had to engage immediately on the reading of the Quran, so to ask Allah's help and the healing. But the suffering that human beings are going through, it's Allah. There was a time I met, subhanAllah, a brother, and he called me, and then he said, no, I have these wonderful people, and the mother is suffering, she can't move, and she's difficult, and we have to carry her everywhere, and she's not that old. We don't know what's happening. She spends so much money in hospitals. I say, okay, what can we do? So, I know, let's try also the spiritual Islamic healing. So, Bismillah. So we accepted. So we sat in a room, and I put a chair, and she's sitting there, and I'm sitting on the opposite side, far away from her. As a woman, so I have to respect, alhamdulillah. And then the daughter was there, and the brother, and the husband. Her daughter and husband was there, and then this brother that brought me. They all want to run away from the room. I say no, come in and sit with me. In case we need help, at least you can handle your mother than me, or you can touch her and not touch her. And then they accept, but they were in fear, So they accept. They sat down. When we sat down, a few minutes after, I started reading. Now this wonderful mother reacted such a way that a voice started talking to us, and it's not a voice of a woman; it's a voice of a man. It was
What were you reading? Like verses from the Quran? What was it? Different verses?
Yes. First of all, was always Surah. I always open up with Surah Al-Fatiha. And reason that because Surah Al-Fatiha, the Prophet ﷺ said this is the mother of the Quran, So, and we know an incident in the past that Aisha radiallahu anha and other Sahaba, they healed people with Surah Al-Fatiha. So I always open up with Surah Al-Fatiha and deeply reciting, with yaqeen. And then I can move on with different ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah. Selective ones. Now, within a 2 minute, brother, those are reaction, and then she start now, get my daughter, take me out from here, taking me out from this man, I can now be here. And it was a shock for me.
In a different voice?
In a different voice, yes.
Wow.
So now I had to insist, don't do that. Don't be emotional. We made a niyyah when we came here to ask Allah, the owner of healing, to heal her. So don't break the procedure. This is the procedure of healing. So let's follow. And then, but she said, if you're staying here, then hold my hand. And she didn't want to hold the hand, but she, her own mother,
Oh, mother, yeah.
So all of a sudden, Alhamdulillah, she accepted to hold the hand. But she said, no, my husband must be next to me, and my husband must hold also my other hand. So
A chain
Alhamdulillah,
of
it
hands.
was beautiful. It was a chain, of a family, mashallah. Well, we keep reading. And 5 minutes after, this is how people, they don't understand the miracle of the Quran and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She passed, and it was a shock. They thought maybe something happened. Maybe, what did you do? I said, no, you are all inside here. I'm reading Quran. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I didn't even touch her. I didn't even, But she's not talking. She's not breathing. She's not. And a few minutes after, she come up, and I say, stand up and walk. This woman, brother, was brought to the room with 3 people holding her. She could not walk. And I just say, now it's time for you to stand up and walk. And she stood up and she's walking outside by herself. Nobody can hold her. And she is glowing in her face.
Wow.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
But one of the incidents that was it was a miracle for me, seeing Allah's healing and power immediately to a human being.
It's amazing. And then how do you make sure that whatever entity was harming them, it doesn't return? How do you make sure that they will remain protected?
That is a good question, because I've heard some of the Rockies that, they just do, and then some patients are complaining that, the entity remain around and harming people more. So what I do, I believe in whatever is revealed in the Quran a lot from a young age. And one of my biggest tool that I use, or maybe a medicine, is water, because water is everything, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. So I will bring a water, which I will recite also a lot of Quran in it. And when we are in the room, that whatever they say, I can read the signs that maybe this is quite a big case. I will ask a bucket of water to be near to also. And usually I soak the feet of the person inside that water.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
sort of speak that, because we're talking about negative energies here, and you are the reader or the facilitator, you're going to give a lot of positive energy. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits this entity to get out, it will be attracted by that water. And then the water that you're spraying around in the person, that will be again another protection that this entity, either he will bath in that water and he will be gone, or he will disappear completely around, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Yeah.
SubhanAllah. And Cindy, how do you protect yourself? Because just listening to just that one story, and you do these things all the time. First of all, it would be terrifying for any person to even imagine that scenario. But also, how do you protect yourself that these things don't take revenge on you and they don't harm you in future?
Again, my brother, I really appreciate that question, because not so many people think about the Raqi or the person who been appointed to come and facilitate. They only think that no, he's an imam, or he's a sheikh, or he's a maulana, or
He's all right.
he must just come and do what he's doing and go home. We suffer more than them. That's the truth. At the beginning, when I accept the signs that I must do this, I didn't know how to protect myself. I was deeply affected by the seeing, the reactions from other people and the suffering they're going through. And yes, ya Allah, what is this? How the humans are suffering so much like this? So I used to cry, at the end of the session going home, and keep thinking, Ya Allah, teach me more. So then I start now, all of a sudden, whoa, my son, oh, my wife, whoa, myself in the evening. So there were a lot of attacks going on my own family. And then I had to now collect myself, doing more adhkar and more dhikrullah, more nafil, and sitting alone in corners where no one can distract me, and ask Allah guidance and help. And then I came to the point that, I have to protect myself and my family as first. And
Yeah.
how do I do that? I read a lot on them, and particularly when they are asleep. And then I make sure that once a week we sit down together, all of us, and we read Surah Yasin or other Surah or Surah Al-Baqarah. We read together with a deep understanding and a deep connection with Allah for protection and for healing. I do believe in the Quran water, as I told you. So I make sure that I have a big bottle of water at home that everybody drink from there. And then that water always, there is a reading that is gone in and mixed with Zamzam water. Then I have to do more than before. I also cleanse the house by reading in different corners, because these entities, they live in every human house, and particularly in corners. So I had to read always in corners in the house, so that they can release the space for the Muslims to come.
Wallah.
Yes.
That's amazing, Sidi Kamardin. Hey there. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Let me just take a moment to introduce our sponsors for today. This episode is kindly being sponsored by the Worldwide Listings Company Limited, or WLC for short. WLC is a complete A to Z Amazon account management service. So if you're looking to start an e-commerce business, or you already have a business that you want to take to the next level, then get in touch and WLC will be able to help. Just for transparency purposes, let me also mention that WLC is a company that I personally created and am a director of. So when you get in touch with WLC, you will be speaking with directly myself or my team, and we very much look forward to speaking with you to see how we can serve your needs. Thank you, and with that said, let's get back to the episode.